Yeah, welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast Live. Yes. Got a pretty interesting show for you here tonight. As you can see, it's just going to be me. I'm going to give you some of my thoughts on some of the things that's going on. And as you can see, we got two LeBron James topics here. Why? Because LeBron James is just the gift that keeps on giving. And I definitely have some thoughts on some of this stuff I've heard recently. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give a few minutes here and hopefully we get some more bodies in the chat. And then we are going to go ahead and get into it. But before we do that, you know what time it is. If you're here on YouTube and you haven't already, please make sure you go ahead, click that like, that subscribe, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept up to date whenever we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast, and we should come right up. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you give us that like, that 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. And finally, make sure you write it down, put it in your phone, set an alarm, do whatever you got to do to remember. Saturday nights at 7 p.m. we are live here on the Format Podcast, and we'll give you the opportunity to call in, talk to us, get at me. I love it. I can't wait. So, all right. So the first topic, as you can see there by the thumbnail, is actually I'm on the wrong thumbnail, pardon me. As you can see by the thumbnail, Rich Paul saved LeBron. Now, I know some of you are probably wondering, what the hell is Bruce talking about, right? So here's the deal. If you've been around this show for a long time, you have heard me constantly talk about how LeBron always has to get saved by someone else, right? I talk about how in, 2013, he got saved by Ray Allen when Ray Allen made that incredible shot in the NBA finals, right? I talk about how in 2016 in the amazing 3-1 comeback. We're not going to talk about, how the NBA gifted him that, but so be it. I always talk about how Kyrie Irving hit that amazing shot over Steph with, I think, about a minute left. What's up, Steve? Good to see you, bro. How he hit that amazing shot to kind of seal that championship. So there's a lot of different situations. Also, there's Anthony Davis in the bubble for that quote unquote fourth championship. If Anthony Davis didn't get busy, we know LeBron doesn't win that one. So there's multiple occasions where LeBron has been saved. And I know now you LeBron fans are going to start talking about, well, what about Jordan? Steve Kerr and John Paxson saved him. Yeah, no, wrong. So that's what we call a false equivalency, where you try to make an analogy and say, this thing is like that thing, except this thing isn't really like that thing. And why do I say that? Because going back to LeBron for a second, when Kyrie Irving hit that shot, if he doesn't hit that shot, LeBron and the Cavs lose that championship. When Ray Allen hit that shot, if Ray Allen doesn't hit that shot, LeBron and the Heat lose that championship. If Anthony Davis doesn't get busy in the bubble, LeBron doesn't win that quote unquote fourth championship. Now, let's go ahead and juxtapose that with Steve Kerr and John Paxson hitting their shots. Now, you can say those shots sealed championships for Michael Jordan. Okay, cool. I got no problem with you saying that. But here's the difference. Those shots were in Game 6. They were in no danger of losing the series if Kerr and Paxson didn't hit those shots. Maybe they don't win those particular games, but then they go on to Game 7 and we know Michael Jordan is going to win that. How do we know that? Because there is no evidence whatsoever, no historical evidence that Michael Jordan could lose in the finals. Why? Because it simply never happened. There is no evidence to say that. So I know that some of you LeBron fans are going to say, well, Jordan could have lost. Well, you can say he could have, but there's no evidence to support that because it's never happened. Plenty of evidence to support LeBron losing in the finals. All right, cool. So there's your false equivalency. So when I say that LeBron got saved multiple times in the finals, let's not go ahead and try that. Well, Jordan got saved too. Yeah, no, that's not it at all. What do we got here, Steve? LeBron needed media plants. Bron needed Miami super team. Bron needed Miami to hit the biggest shot. Bron needed Ray Allen to beat an old Spurs team. Correct. And that same old Spurs team came back and ran them out in the NBA Finals the following season by a record margin. We know this is truth. This is not my opinion. We know this is truth. It's not that serious. What's up, my G? Yes, I'm live. Yes, I'm live. Here we go. Transformer always got to come caping up for Bron. Here we go. What up, Transformer? What teammates knock down shots that doesn't even make sense? He can drop 40, keeps the game relevant, but then he gets saved. Blasphemy. Yes, he got saved because You weren't listening. In those situations I just mentioned, those guys don't hit those shots. LeBron is got another loss on his NBA Finals record. So yes, he got saved. No matter how much you want to protect your boo, and you're gonna have to do a lot of protecting tonight because I'm about to bring it to you. Pause, but you'll see. Let's see. My Life, Your Entertainment. What's up, man? People forget how Stephen A. would clown LeBron for being saved and not being a closer, but Stephen A. took the cheese and no longer brings that up anymore, and he definitely didn't during the Olympics. That's true. That's also true. Now, quick note, and Transformer, he can bear witness to this. He and I actually agree that LeBron probably was the right choice for MVP in the Olympics. He was the most consistent player out of all of them, but that's a different argument. All right. Let's see. LeBron could have been the first LeBron. Instead, he was such an entitled, insecure narcissist. He decided he was entitled to be the GOAT. He said he would have been the GOAT of any sport yet. And we know that's absurd, right? We know that is absolutely absurd. So we're not even going to argue that. Real quick, appreciate you in the chat. If you're in the chat, please make sure you go over to the YouTube page, hit that like and subscribe button. Got to get these likes up so that YouTube can push the show out into the algorithm, so that more people who watch sports talk on YouTube can get this show. They can come join. They can come join the chat and all of that. Let's see. I say that for any big time player, Kobe, Jordan. Yeah, but Transformer, what you're missing, I don't know if you caught it when I mentioned Jordan, that was a false equivalency, because when Steve Kerr and John Paxson hit their shots, they were in game sixes and they weren't at all in danger of actually losing the finals. In all those cases we mentioned with LeBron, those guys don't hit those shots. He loses the finals, and those are more finals losses on his record. And the other thing I said was, at worst, if Steve Kerr and Paxson don't hit those shots, those series in the NBA Finals go to game 7, which we know Jordan would win. And I know you're pushing back on that right now, but how do we know Jordan would win? Because there's simply no evidence that he could lose in the finals, because it never happened. There is no empirical evidence that you can use to say that Jordan could lose in the finals. It's impossible. All right. Ron Jones, with your thinking, basketball is not a team sport. Here we go. Basketball absolutely is a team sport, but we've seen, maybe you haven't, but we have seen what the true GOAT can do. Anyway, he said that on his podcast, Delusional Narcissist. Yeah. Let's see. What do we got? Lou, that's a great point. It's a team sport when it benefits LeBron. It's always a moving goalpost. No one debated MJ being the GOAT. The media didn't decide it. The people did. The people know a fraud. Absolutely. All right. So here's the deal. Why am I bringing up Rich Paul saved LeBron? Because this is crazy. Pythagoras. I've seen MJ lose in multiple conference finals. I said the NBA Finals. You weren't listening, bro. I said the NBA Finals. There is no evidence to demonstrate that Michael Jordan could have lost in the NBA Finals, because it never happened. He never even saw a game 7. So again, empirical evidence is going to tell you whether or not something can take place. And to this point, we have no evidence demonstrating that Michael Jordan could lose in the finals, and we never will, because it's all over. All right. I have empirical evidence he can lose in a series. You're not listening to me, are you, Pythagoras? But that's cool. I know you want to move the goalposts. I know what side you're on. I can see it. All right. So let's see. Here we go. All right. So here's the deal. Why did I bring up this whole Rich Paul save LeBron thing, right? We get on LeBron all the time for joining super teams and going here and going there, right? And if we remember last season, there were rumors that around the trade deadline that Golden State was interested in LeBron. And Rich Paul kind of smacked that down and said, nah, that wasn't the case, blah, 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 right? And if you were around this show at that time, I was always saying, like, why would LeBron or Steph be remotely interested in that, right? If you're LeBron, why would you go to Steph's team? If you're Steph, why would you want LeBron, your biggest rival, to come to your team? Like, that's going to upset the chemistry, upset the balance. We know what LeBron does. He's a team wrecker. We know that. No matter how you feel about LeBron, the fact is he is a team wrecker. We see that. So why would you want this dude to come to your team? You already have one team wrecker on your team. That's Draymond Green. So you want LeBron there too? That's going to cause nothing but problems. So anyway, that kind of got pushed down and blah, blah, blah. Let's see. What do we got? Lou says his behavior hurts his reputation, making the NBA the WWE. It's why the NBA is the only league losing fans. Even the WNBA is growing because of CC and Angel Reese. So those are great points, Lou. The only thing I'll push back on in terms of that is, yes, the NBA is losing fans. The NBA is losing viewership. We know that, but they really don't care. And I used to argue with my brother about this, but I stopped because At the end of the day, the NBA just signed a $76 billion media rights deal. So I don't think they care. They can lose fans, they can lose whatever, but people are still paying more money than ever for the media rights to cover and broadcast these games. You know what I'm saying? All right. So, yeah. So back to LeBron and the possibility of Golden State. I was like, why would you want that if you're Steph? You already dealt with it with KD, right? KD went there, and now you have people saying, well, KD was a better player, and he's the reason you won. And if KD never went there, Steph would only have one title, blah, 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 even though he had one before and he's got one after. So there's kind of a pushback on that. But at the end of the day, what happens is if I'm Steph, I should say, there's no way I want LeBron on my team, right? I just don't. I want nothing to do with that. But here's the crazy part, right? It completely disregards global viewership. It's a flawed metric. It could be Pythagoras, but at the end of the day, because you're right, actually, because Adam Silver said that 70% of TV viewership for the NBA comes from overseas. It's international. But like you said, you can't count that. But anyway, here's the deal, right? What I was saying. So with the Steph piece, I don't want him on my team, and that whole thing happened. But this is what got interesting to me. I was listening to Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco on Nightcap. I think it was last night's episode, and they dropped something that kind of shocked me, and we'll come back and we'll talk about that afterwards.
Rich Paul reportedly quashed talks of LeBron trade to the Warriors. This story is making its rounds today. According to Mark Stein, it was Paul who put the kibosh on a tentative trade discussion between the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors surrounding LeBron last season. Mm-hmm. It is believed that the Lakers would have reluctantly entertained a trade conversation with the Warriors before February trade deadline if LeBron wanted them to seriously engage Golden State on a potential deal. Yet league sources say that the reported talks between the teams at the time never got far, a large part because LeBron's agent, Rich Paul, was adamantly opposed to the idea of LeBron swapping Southern California to Northern California. Sources say Rich Paul implored both teams to scrap the concept, largely because he wanted to insulate LeBron from the potential backlash over switching teams for the fourth time in his career.
Now, you heard that, right? Rich Paul basically Rich Paul saved LeBron from himself. The fact that LeBron was even considering that is pathetic. I've said it time and time again. I'm not going to call him a name. That would be unprofessional as a trained journalist. But the behavior of not wanting to compete and always looking to join up with somebody else, especially your biggest rival during the second part of your career, that behavior is cowardly. I'm not going to call him a coward. I'm going to say he would have been exhibiting cowardly behavior. And realistically, had Steph accepted that, he also would have been exhibiting cowardly behavior. So Rich Paul, he knew how that was going to look, and he knew how that was going to go if that had happened. He had to save LeBron from himself. So I'm sitting back and I'm thinking, LeBron, have you no shame? Have you no shame? This is the same dude that's going to win a championship in the bubble and say, we want our damn respect, and I want my damn respect too. Well, this is why you don't get it, because you make moves like this. This is why you don't get it. Again, yes, it's a different era. Yes, things are different. Here you go, Transformer. I understand this is not the 90s, but guess what? Here's the difference. When you're talking about being the GOAT and you're getting measured up against all these other dudes from these other eras, right? That stuff starts to play a role. It gets considered in the argument. So it's not a function of this isn't the 90s, these dudes don't give a damn. It's a function of when you have to measure up against the other guys, you have to be able to do that. And the fact is, what's one of the things I always talk about? You know this, Transformer. LeBron didn't get it out of the mud like the other guys did. When it got hard, he cut and he ran and he built up a super team, and then he won with that. Right. And when that started getting hard, pause, then he ran out of Miami, and then he goes to Cleveland, builds another super team where he goes to 4 championships. He wins one with the stimulus package from the league. And so he gets that. Then when that starts getting hard, he runs to LA, and then he uses everything possible to trade away all of the Lakers' young resources, right? This guy's the leader. This guy's the guy who can build up and lead any team and do this and that, right? But he trades away all their young resources to bring Anthony Davis there. Now, it paid off. They end up winning a championship, but the future, really? Oh, come on, Mark. No, that's not true. Would have accelerated the Laker rebuild, which from a strategy standpoint, no. Because all those guys ended up being better when they left and went other places. But I digress. We're not going to talk about that. We can't measure up against them. We said that last show. No, you can't measure up against them because the guys from this generation aren't good enough. That's why they can't measure up. But the fact is also that you're taking the easy route, right? You've heard me say this. You heard John Stockton say it. You didn't climb the mountain. You took a helicopter to the top. Really, Mark? Here you go again, huh? Here you go.
You play to win the game.
That's for you, Mark. But no, it's not just that, right? Of course you play to win the game, but that's like saying, I play to win the game, but if I cheat, it's okay. Now, I'm not saying stacking super teams is cheating because they didn't do anything technically against the rules. But it's amazing to me how there are so many people who played at a high level, people who analyze the game, people who've been around, who don't freaking understand or respect competition, right? At the end of the day, that's part of the reason that people look at Jordan the way they look at Jordan and why he's so revered. And why we see him the way we do in terms of what he did, because of how let's look at the example, right? We saw what the Pistons, the Detroit Pistons, did to this dude year after year, right? We saw first he had to deal with the Celtics, and when he couldn't deal with the Celtics got knocked off by the Pistons. Then they kept running into the Pistons, right? And realistically, if you go back and you look at the basketball back then, the Cleveland Cavaliers were supposed to be the next team up. They were built and they were ready and they were primed to go take on the Pistons. But Michael Jordan was so mercurial and he was so great that he catapulted Chicago past Cleveland, right? Because Cleveland was the team that was built out and was supposed to be next up. But now the one that happened, the Bulls end up jumping over Cleveland because of Michael Jordan, and they keep running into the Pistons. And as we know, year after year, they're getting knocked out by the Pistons, but they're getting closer and closer each time. Michael Jordan, he didn't cut and run. He got stronger. He got back in the gym. He continued to work. He got better and better and better. And then he passed those guys and he went on to start winning. And once he started winning, he closed the door on everyone else, right? So yeah, let's see. Steph is the only one in that conversation. These other dudes are kids in the game still. Nice try though. Wait, I'm not following. I must have missed it. Transformer, go ahead, put it in the chat what you mean by that. I missed it. Here we go. Seriously? Really? Okay, Transformer, let's keep this plain and simple. Is LeBron James better than Michael Jordan? That's an easy one. Not even you can argue that. But anyway, also longevity without winning is just a participation trophy. LeBron only led the league in scoring once, assists once. That's crazy. He just played a long time and was on super teams. Absolutely, Lou. And the other thing is, if you notice, right, if you watch basketball, NBA basketball, and you notice, what you see is LeBron very carefully stacking the numbers. Like, he knows exactly what he's doing. Like, even in a blowout, he won't leave the game until he gets those double figures points so he can keep that streak going. He knows what he's doing because he knows he'll never actually be good enough to surpass MJ. So he's playing all the, he's doing all the other things, right? He's getting the stats and he's doing everything he can to try and stack the argument. But at the end of the day, people who know basketball and people who saw MJ understand that he is not and never will be that guy. But that's just it. No, it's just that Mark says you don't play for S and giggles. No, you don't. You do play to win. But again, competition matters. Why would LeBron lead the league in scoring if he ain't taking the most shots in the league? MJ has 10 scoring titles, led the league in shots 9 of those times. But see, here's the thing, though. People always talk about Pythagoras, how Michael Jordan took a lot of shots. And yes, he took a lot of shots. But are we going to say he was inefficient? Until the Washington years, Michael Jordan was like 51% from the field for his career. So he was taking a lot of shots, but he was not inefficient. He was extremely efficient in doing so, right? So we gotta do that. And Pythagoras, you're wrong. LeBron, I believe, led the league in missed shots. I think he's got the most missed shots of all time, or in his first game this season, he'll break that. So it's either that. Oh, I got you, Transformer. So it's either that he's going to break it in his first game this season or he's already broken it. So there's that. My life. Got you, bro. So yeah. Love from Portugal. Flurry, what's up, man? Portugal. I think you're the first person to ever get on the show from Portugal. So I appreciate that. Everybody who's in the chat, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Like and subscribe and make sure you share the show. Need that. But yeah, so where were we? We were talking about LeBron. So Rich Paul saved LeBron from himself by squashing that deal. And I think this is the first time I'm going to say I like the move Rich Paul made, right? Because normally I'm not a Rich Paul guy because every time he's got an interview, he's on carrying LeBron's water and telling whoever's interviewing him why LeBron is the greatest player of all time and all this foolishness and why he's better than Jordan and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, come on, man. At the end of the day, why can't, and I keep saying it, why can't LeBron's game just stand on its own? Why does he have to continually go on this propaganda tour and push the narrative? Why does he have to have his people reach out to people in the NBA media when they say things about LeBron that they don't like or they don't find flattering? Why do they have to try and influence people who have votes for all NBA or all stars or MVP and et cetera? We know this stuff has happened because these guys have come out and said it. They've come out and said it. So why are they doing that? So Rich Paul, he saves LeBron from making the mistake of a lifetime, right? Now, I know for you LeBron fans, you would see nothing wrong with it if he went to Golden State and joined up with Steph Curry and tried to win another one. But why would you be cool with that? Why? Like, again, I don't understand why competition doesn't matter anymore. And again, it would be one thing if you were just measuring LeBron against this era, but so many people want to put LeBron unfairly, I might add, into the GOAT discussion where he doesn't belong. And so when that happens, if you're in the GOAT discussion, you start getting measured against other guys. So if you have it easier than they had it, how can you be in that discussion? It's pretty darn simple. I just don't get it. Absolutely. My life, your entertainment. There you go. LeBron is the only NBA player to ever use the media to paint his legacy through false narratives and manipulation. He literally has media plants. Like, we've never seen this before. Nick Wright, Shannon Sharp. I thought that Kendrick Perkins was getting his act together, but he seems to be back on the payroll. It's crazy how these dudes do it. It's crazy. Money ruined competition, unfortunately. Did money ruin competition? I don't think so. Because if you look at, I'll use the NFL for example, they get plenty of money, not NBA money, but they get a lot of money comparatively to previous iterations of the NFL, but they still go out there and compete. So I don't know if we can use that as an excuse for LeBron. Nino, what's good, my man? Good to see you in here. Good to see you. Nino, do you think Bron going to the Warriors would make them the favorites? I don't even think that, to be honest. I don't, because we've seen that even though LeBron can still put up numbers for himself, those numbers don't effectively affect winning anymore. So I don't think that they become the favorite if he goes to the Warriors. Now, the good thing is Steph is a guy who doesn't really need the ball, so that's not going to really hurt them. But in that situation, Draymond, he's been playing that point forward role for years. So what does LeBron do if Draymond has the ball? LeBron can't play off the ball. We know this, right? We know this. So, like, I don't even know how it would be a fit. That's the other problem. But what? LeBron doesn't care if it's a fit. All he cares about is this an opportunity for me to play with other, Hall of Fame talent to try and eke out another chip before I go? So it's crazy. And then here's the other question, right? Here's another question. If he had done this, if he had gotten away with this, then what happens with the Bronny piece, right? Do we think that he would have been able to manipulate Golden State into drafting Bronny? Or does Bronny go back to college? Like, what happens? I don't know. That's something else we got to think about, right? Lou says, I miss when the NBA was about competition. It feels as toxic as politics. And honestly, LeBron acts like a dictator. He does. Enes Kanter said it a few weeks ago. Yeah, I remember when Enes Kanter said that. And it really was fair that LeBron is like the dictator of the NBA because he does run things and control things. And we see it. We've seen it for a lot of years now. But the crazy thing is everybody knows this. But when people say it, they're haters or they wake up hating on another black man. But then when they say it, he has to send out his team to try and quiet them. Those are the type of moves dictators make, right? Try to keep people from talking and telling the truth. So it is kind of crazy. Let's see. Steve says this all comes down to MJ's legacy versus LeBron's manufactured career. And we're going to talk about that more in the second topic. But yeah, it's crazy. Let's see. Transformer says MJ led the league in field goals missed 7 times. Right. But again, now those 7 times he led the league in field goals missed, Transformer, go and look at his field goal percentage, right? So yeah, he took a lot of shots. He missed shots, but it's not like he was shooting 42% from the field. So that's what we got to look at. We got to stop pushing these narratives to try and prop up LeBron. Because again, I'm going to ask the simple question. Why can't LeBron's work stand on its own? Somebody tell me, why can't LeBron's work stand on its own? If he was so clearly better than Michael Jordan, we wouldn't need to do all this. We would not need to take shots at Jordan in order to make LeBron look better. It's that simple. And again, when you grease the skids and make the path to winning easier, we're going to look at you a different way. Yes, you have championships like Mike has, but those championships aren't the same. It's not built the same. It's that simple. Sneed, what's up, my man? Good to see you in here. Bron with the only one Hall of Famer isn't enough. True indeed. Bron probably needs 3 Hall of Fame teammates at this point. Yeah, at this point, yes, because he's still a physical marvel. And I wouldn't be shocked if he missed 30 games coming up this year. I wouldn't be shocked at all. And then you're going to hear, well, he's 39 years old. He's 40 years old, and he played in the Olympics. He didn't have rest over the summer, blah, blah, blah. But, it's the same thing. On one hand, it's, we've never seen a 39 and 40-year-old do the type of things LeBron is doing. But he's 39 and 40 years old. What do you expect? I guess 2 things can be true, right? So it is what it is. Transformer laughs at Ennis Cantor quotes. I don't understand what's funny about that. What he said was true. If he was lying, it would be funny, but what he said was true. LeBron stacks will always be a factor in games because of his physical dominance. Where he fails in these bailout is in winning time where Jordan and Kobe flourished. Absolutely. Let's see. All right. So, yeah, these are kind of my thoughts on the Rich Paul thing. I think that he was lucky, really lucky that Rich Paul saved him from himself, because I can't imagine how history would view LeBron, and how most basketball fans, sensible basketball fans, not LeBron fans, but basketball fans, would have viewed him had he made that move and gone to Golden State. I think that would have been absolutely terrible. And I'm glad that Rich Paul stopped it. Real quick, if you're in the chat, I see 24 people in the chat. Appreciate all y'all for being here. Make sure you go ahead and click that like button on YouTube. Please hit that like. We really need it. It helps the show get out. It helps us hit the YouTube algorithm so more people can see it. Lou says we got to talk about the open secret of. I am not going to talk about that because we have no evidence and I got no money to get sued for slander. So we're not going to do that. I'm sure people can think based on what LeBron has been able to do at a high level physically throughout such a long career. Just still showing a level of explosiveness and durability that we've never seen from a player at his age. And that's a fact. No question about it. But that said, we're not going to accuse anybody of using anything on this channel because we have no evidence, and that's just it. All right, Pythagoras says 20 times All-NBA. He's simply the great all-around player we've seen. MJP tire, no doubt. So here's the problem. Pythagoras, let me put this up there. And we're digressing a little bit, but that's cool. We're going to do a couple more of these chats, and then we're going to open up the phone lines. But how is he the greatest all-around player we've seen? Let me ask you that. How is he that? When he has spent so much of his career loafing on the other side of the ball. How is it that today's basketball fan somehow seems to forget that there are 2 sides of the ball? Now, am I saying he never played defense? No, but he's never been a lockdown defender. He's never truly been he played passing lanes a lot, but when was the last time that we saw him really lock in and defend a guy, like defend his matchup for the duration or the most of a game, right? The last time I saw that was 2010 against Paul Pierce, right? And Paul Pierce was giving it to him. Pause. Paul Pierce was working him out. Pause. So that's a situation where that's the last time I saw LeBron really lock in for any extended amount of time on his position or on another elite offensive player. We don't see that. So we got to stop acting when we say he's the greatest all-around player. No, he's not, because he doesn't play both sides of the ball. I will tell you this. You're going to think I'm crazy. Hakeem Olajuwon is a better all-around player than LeBron James. He retired top 10 in 4 major statistical categories, only player to ever do that. And he was an elite, one of the best all-time defenders. We can't say that about LeBron. But guess what? In 2024, we only care about one side of the ball. So that's the thing. We got to stop this. LeBron is the greatest all-around player. We got to stop that. LeBron was not a better defender than Michael Jordan. Now he's physically bigger, so that technically allows him to defend more positions. But is he locking up anybody? No, not really. Exactly, Steve. MJ is easily the better defender. That's correct. Let's see. He's easily the better defender. LeBron is not a lockdown guy like MJ. Correct. So this is what I can't understand. LaFleury says, I got here late. Did anything happen about LeBron smearing Jordan? No, what happened, Fleury? I was actually talking about how last season LeBron was seriously considering going to Golden State at the trade deadline to play with Steph Curry. And Rich Paul was actually the one who put a stop to that deal because he was worried about how people would perceive it. And that's probably the smartest move Rich Paul ever made, because he knows probably not even LeBron could have come back from that one. Pythagoras says that LeBron can defend more positions also. Well, LeBron is 6'9", 260, right? So I get that. So that's kind of a misnomer. But, like, is he really getting in the crouch and defending point guards like Jordan did? No. How often do we see him really defending shooting guards? We don't. How often do we really see him defending elite small forwards, wings? We don't. Like, LeBron plays the passing lanes a lot. LeBron was aggressive, and then they're going to say, well, LeBron was tasked to do so much on offense that he wasn't able to defend too. But that's not true, because Jordan did just as much on offense, right? He 10-time scoring leader, dominant offensive player, one of the most dominant offensive, if not the most dominant offensive player we've ever seen, but he still played dominant defense. So we got to stop that. Pythagoras says, MJ defense is highly overrated. I've seen real average dudes break his ankles. So let's stop. I think I know exactly to what you're referring. We got these fake videos, not fake videos. We got these videos out here with very short clips of him getting caught, obviously by Allen Iverson, by Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, and by Rod Strickland. So let's take a look at that real quick, and then I promise we'll open up the phone lines, right? So here's the deal. All those guys, Allen Iverson was 5'11". Isaiah Thomas was 6 feet. Rod Strick, I think, was 6'2", and Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf was like 6'1", 6'2", right? How tall was Michael Jordan? We all know Michael Jordan was 6'6", right? There's this thing called physics. In every sport, we hear it. Low man wins, right? So at 6'6", the physics dictate that the shorter guy who is lower to the ground is going to have a better opportunity, especially on lateral movement, to deal with a defender who is 6'6", right? Physics work. We got to stop pushing false narratives. We got to stop it. So to say MJ's defense highly overrated, I've seen real average dudes take his ankles. No, not really. You've seen him get caught a couple times, yes, because, you know, those point guards back then was crazy, super shifty. But yeah, let's stop acting like Michael was getting cooked by small dudes. Like, that's absurd. Because even the one where Allen Iverson hit the famous crossover and then hit the shot one, Allen Iverson, go back and look at that clip, he carried, but that's a different thing. And then even after he hit Michael Jordan with the crossover, Michael Jordan almost got back and recovered and blocked that shot. It just got over Mike's fingertips. So let's not act like, oh, he hit him so bad he made him fall, and then nah, it's absurd. But anyway, clearly you don't know how physics work. All right. Nino says Bron is definitely the best all-around player in his prime. No, maybe in his era, but definitely not ever. Man down, what's good? Man down sports, my guy. Appreciate you being here. Yes, please, y'all hit the like button. I appreciate it. All right, so let's do this. So my whole thing here was that Rich Paul saved LeBron from himself by squashing that deal. And I think that is the best move Rich Paul ever made. He's made a lot of moves I don't agree with, but this one I thought was ingenious, because maybe not even LeBron could have recovered from that. So let's go ahead at this time. Oh, man, I didn't even have the banner going. The phone number is 904-219-8264. 904-219-8264. Yeah, go ahead and call in, and yeah, let's get it. Let's see. While we're waiting to see if we get any calls, let's go through some more of these chats. The Flurry says, hey, man, your b-ball knowledge seems pretty solid. I just usually watch old MJ Kobe highlights for fun, so the technical side escapes me. Like and subscribe, though. Do the same, fellas. Cool video. Hey, I appreciate you, Flurry. Appreciate you, man. What else we got here? Jordan wasn't guarding power forwards and centers. Yeah, because back then power forwards and centers weren't like 6'8", 6'9", and 210 pounds. Them dudes was like real big guys. So at 6'6" shooting guard, why would Michael Jordan be guarding power forwards and centers? That doesn't make any sense. Braun would have been dust from those guys too. That's some stupid. Yep, absolutely. Steve says, Bruce, trying to explain physics to Brown fans is pointless. Their blinders can't even see through the man's paid narrative. You know, it's so funny, Steve, that you say paid narrative, because the way so many of these LeBron fans act, I swear that Clutch sends $50 checks out every week. I really do. And if that's the case, like, how do I get on it? I wouldn't mind a free $50 every week. But if that means I got to like come on here and say things like my king as a grown man, yeah, I'll skip the $50. LeBron, the type of dude that shut down D Rose in the fourth back in 2011. Okay, Pythagoras. Yeah, let's go with that, right? So that's one that I love. People always talk, oh, he shut down MVP D Rose. Okay. So D Rose played first three quarters, right? We know he's an aggressive, physically gifted scorer and player, right? Cool. And so LeBron, who supposedly shut down D Rose, avoided the guy all through the game, and then he gets on him for selected stretches of the fourth quarter when D Rose is already, you know, his fuel is running low, but fine, whatever. It's an NBA game. You're supposed to be in condition. So then you get on him for selected stretches in the fourth quarter, make some shots tough on him, and you shut him down. See what I talk about with false narratives? If he shut him down, where was he for the whole game? Where was he saying, this is my assignment, I got it? Like, Gary Payton, the glove, made it hell on Michael Jordan, games 4, 5, and 6 of the 96 NBA Finals. Gary Payton was 6'3", right? He was 6'3", but he defended Jordan. And if you go back and look, Michael Jordan had very tough shooting nights against the glove. And Gary Payton says, this is my assignment. I want to defend this guy, right? Not this, oh, I'm going to wait till select stretches during the fourth quarter and defend him. This is what I don't understand. We got to stop this. We got to stop this. Let's see what we got. So, yeah, Mark says, Bud got over his fingertips. There is no almost. You sound like my dad, man. Man. He always used to say, almost doesn't count. All right. Let's see. Cleveland was not a super team, Bruce. That team did not have a top 75 player. Now we're doing semantics, right? Because Kyrie Irving is one of the best offensive players in the league. All right, we got a call. Let's go ahead and take this. Format Podcast. Nino, what's good, my man?
What's going on? Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you. I knew I was going to get a call from you. I was waiting for that. What you got, man?
All I want to say is, can we please stop the competition narrative? Even with Bron Jordan in the big three, it was still competition. You still had the Dallas Mavericks, you still had the Spurs, you still had the Boston Celtics, you still had competition. So people act like it was they don't even go to the Warriors when the Warriors did their thing. Then you had before Kevin Durant went over there, you had the Thunder Center. It was still competition in the league. We gotta stop seeing people no competition. Can we please put that to rest?
Well, I'm talking about in the East, the competition became a lot less. Now, if you're talking about in that first year in the East, I think the Pacers were really good, or the Pacers were pretty good, and the Bulls were really good with Coach Tibbs. I think the Bulls had the number 1 seed, and obviously the Celtics were just about done, right? Because remember, that Celtics team came together 07, 08. And by then, that was 2011, right? And those guys were already old at that point. So now they're 4 years into it, right? So that team wasn't the same team, even though they were still good, just because, you know, just the experience and the general greatness, right? But that team wasn't as good. Toronto was now knocked out because Chris Bosh. And then, of course, you know, Miami was souped up Bosh and D-Wade. So, like, I'm not going to say there was no competition, but if we're not going to act like that competition was shifted, like, come on. Like,
we don't go on the conference finals, though. We go on finals. We don't talk about MJ.
Okay.
And the Boston Celtics. We go straight to the finals.
Yeah, we do. I feel that. But what I will say, though, is for Michael Jordan and the Bulls, it was tougher for them getting out in the East than it was in invariably whoever they played against in the finals. Like, I think that's a lot of times. Yeah, that's a lot of times why we automatically jump to the finals versus, the rest of the playoff run.
I agree with that. Now, at the same time, I feel like we nitpicking. I just don't like the LeBron disrespect of he's not in the conversation. We gotta be for real. But if you go with Jordan, real basketball fans can't deny MJ. I say if you want to say MJ the GOAT, I say it's based on he done it. He the blueprint. Without him, like I always say, without MJ, there's no Kobe, no Bron, no T-Mac, no Vince Carter. So if you want to say that, I got no, but I believe in evolution. I believe if them guys watched MJ, they knew what to work on. Now it's gonna be a player that comes that put everything together. MJ had the work ethic and the killer will, but he smoked and drank and all that party. Bron, they said he took care of his body a little more than MJ.
Yeah.
And he put the work. Kobe put the work. It's gonna be a player that comes, and I want us to embrace him. It's gonna be a player that comes to put all this together. Now, could it be Wemby? It could be.
So the only thing I'll say, Nino, I disagree. I don't think that there is going to be a player that comes and can put it all together, because the era that we live in doesn't create those type of people anymore. Whether it's in sports, whether it's in regular life or whatever, right? For instance, do you think that we are as tough men as our grandfathers were? You know what I'm saying? And were they as tough men as their grandfathers were? No. See what I'm saying?
I gotta say yes, but I gotta say no too. I mean, I feel like we could be. I feel like the evolution. We work smarter now. But so I gotta say no now, because I think no. I gotta say no. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I definitely gotta say no.
Yeah, and it's not.
We don't gotta do the stuff they had to do.
Right. And so I think that, what is it? Tough times make tough men. I think that's the expression, right? And so being that life itself is much easier now. The money is so much bigger now. I think there's less love of the game from players now. And I think there's less drive to truly be as great. Like Transformer always says, Transformer always says, these guys don't care as much nearly about the competition anymore. And I think all of those things go into my disagreement that you're saying eventually we're going to see a guy that's going to come back and put it all together.
I think you got guys like Anthony O. It's guys that care. I mean, but you still got to have the juice too. You got guys that care, but you still got to have the juice. It's guys that want to be Bron, Kobe, and MJ. They just didn't have the juice.
I think I think it's different, man. But I respect your opinion, but I'm gonna disagree with you on this one, though.
You see Wemby out there crying, so he wants to beat.
Yeah. No, I get it. Well, I think obviously a big part of that was he's playing in front of his home crowd literally on his home floor. So all of that plays a role as well. And I'm not saying that none of these guys care. I'm just saying it's different now, and you're not going to see the psychomaniacal competitors like your Jordans and your Kobes, your Isaiahs and your Birds and your Magic. Like, it's just different now. That's all. Does that mean that some of these dudes aren't going to care? Nah, it just means it's different. But you got anything else for me, bro?
No, I'll just say I got to agree with you, because he was coming up the project. So now they're getting 2,000 at the 8th grade. So I agree with you.
Right.
Appreciate the sir.
Right. All right, man. I'm going to go ahead and take this, man, and I will talk to you next time, Nino. Appreciate it, bro. Format Podcast.
Bruce, what up? It's Sneed, bro.
Sneed, what's good, man? Every time you call from a different number. I thought I had you saved, man.
Oh, I'm sorry, bro. I got a work line. I got a line that I'm testing, and then I got like my personal line. So I might be calling from all these, man.
It's all good. What you got, Sneed? Good to hear from you.
So, hey, man, it's good to be here, and thanks for taking the call.
Of course.
You brought up an interesting point. Hakeem is interesting because Hakeem was super elite defensively. You can make an argument one of the best defenders to ever play.
Yeah, definitely.
Just positioning, blocking shots, rim protection.
And he could switch to pick and roll. He could get out on the perimeter and still get back and
Yeah, so that's it's elite. It's elite status. There was never a single year a single stretch of LeBron's career where he ever approached that.
No.
And I mean, I'm not. It's Hakeem was special when it came to that sort of thing. So I'm not holding Bron to that standard.
Right.
I think Bron played good defense for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think at the end of the first go in Cleveland, he became very good defensively. Good. I think in the Miami years, he was physically imposing. He was a good defender. I think the second stint in Cleveland, he was still a good defender at the beginning. And then he went into what we kind of see from LeBron now, which is if he has to play defense, it's the situation, it's a playoff game, it's the end of a game, you'll see the defense come out, but it's situational. He's not sustaining a defensive intensity for any extended amount of time. Those days are long gone. They've been long gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he never reached a point of defense where you say he was elite. He was never elite defensively. He was good defensively for half his career. He was good.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
There was one year I think he was in the running for Defender of the Year. I didn't see it, but they say he was. So I'll give him credit for that year, right, as being very, very good or elite.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not enough to say he was elite defensively. You got guys winning all NBA defensive first team for more than 10 years. That's elite. So you're talking about guys like MJ and Kobe who did it for so many years, all NBA defensive.
Correct.
First team, so many consecutive years, right? So that I think is where he would have to have been if we were going to talk about his defense. And, his best defensive moments were help defense. Actually.
Correct.
So I think back to the finals when he made the block on Iguodala, J.R. Smith slowed him down and allowed LeBron to get the block. That was help defense.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at his block on Thiago Splitter, for the Miami Heat, that was help defense. So he's a good help defender. On the ball, he gets burned a lot. He's a bigger dude. You're talking about the physics. Bro, LeBron is flat-footed. He's powerful when he gets top-end speed and he gets going in the open court. He's fast, but he's not the shifty, quick point guard type of build. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. Sneed, let me stop you real quick because I'm seeing stuff in the chat as you're talking. I appreciate that. Hang with me. Pythagoras 314 says LeBron's block in the finals was the most iconic block of all time. Stop it. You've been made to think that. You've been made to think that, but it's not. You want to know what's the greatest block in finals history? 1994 Game 6, Hakeem Olajuwon blocks John Starks, who has, I think, 27 points at that point. He blocked him and literally saved the championship at the end of Game 6 on that blocked shot. So listen, I know what you've been told. I know what generation you came up in, but go do your homework, young fella. I know you're a young dude just by saying that. The greatest block of all time and in NBA Finals is Hakeem at the end of Game 6 on John Starks because he came from the wing all the way to he came from the top all the way to the wing to block John Starks on that three.
Actually, the most impressive block I ever seen was Wilt Chamberlain closing the gap on a guy who was like 15 feet away from him.
Oh, I saw that one too.
Shot and then saving the ball and keeping it in play. That was one of the most incredible. And by the way, I mean, LeBron's career is built on athleticism, right? Just sheer freak of nature. But Wilt was a better athlete.
Oh, no question. No question. And some
and
people are going to argue that, but there's not a question.
But a lot of people are going to just poo-poo it because Wilt's from the 60s.
Yep.
Apparently they didn't start making athletes until 2003.
Well, even Isaiah Thomas, who hates Michael Jordan and has said LeBron James is probably the best all-around player ever, said that he doesn't believe that LeBron would be the best athlete in the 70s or 80s. So, whatever. I
also take a little bit of take to task, LeBron's ability to shoot the ball consistently.
Well,
I always thought his jumper was inconsistent.
Oh yeah,
I thought it got better for a nice little stretch. I think his post game could have been better
a long time ago.
That there were some years in Miami where it was starting to show, and then he kind of went away from it, became a fadeaway shooter again, and started taking all these pull up threes. I don't know if that's preservation or whatever, but I mean, he left a lot out there that he could have improved and been better at.
Yeah, I agree.
He's still one of my favorite players of all time. I don't like the narratives in the media. I don't like that stuff. But he obviously is an incredible talent. I wish he would clean up the game in the fourth quarter. I wish he would stop turning over the ball late games. You know, I'm critical of him, but I think I think he is an incredible player. He's definitely one of the best players of all time. But I think people just don't view him objectively. I think some people critique him very harshly and some people don't critique him enough. So that's unfortunate. You got, some people who are so venomous towards him. They don't see the good in him. And I think some people are just so enamored by him and they fight and defend him to the point where they can't objectively evaluate his game.
That's fair. That's fair. Osmosis Jones says, hold on, Sneed. The LeBron block was more impressive, saved 2 points. LeBron's block saved 2 points, Osmosis. Hakeem's block saved a championship. That's what you're missing. He saved
if you go back
a
and watch
championship.
Those block Andre Iguodala couldn't even dunk the ball. He was gathering because J.R. Smith made him kind of
he made him slow up when he cut over in front of him. Yeah,
I mean, it was a great setup. I mean, you have to hustle to make the play. Props to LeBron.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I don't know, man. I think people are overdoing it. It's just too much, man. But the biggest thing about that finals was Kyrie's three, anyways. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I talked about that before you got on.
The biggest shot in NBA history is probably that shot, in my opinion.
I actually think it's Ray Allen's three. Actually.
Yeah, it's
I think it's that one.
I mean, so one of those two shots I think are huge and bigger than the block, in my opinion, both of them.
I agree.
You're the best, Bruce. Thank you, man.
All right, Sneed. I appreciate the call as always, man. Thank you. All right. Anybody else want to call in? Give your thoughts on Rich Paul saving LeBron. Let's try that specifically. I'd love to hear some thoughts on Rich Paul keeping LeBron from making that move and basically squashing that possible deal on the Lakers and Warriors side because he knew how that would be perceived by history and by people now. So yeah, I'd love to hear somebody call in and give your thoughts on that. In the meantime, let's look at some of these chats. To sprint full court and no, we poo-poo. It's not about poo-pooing it, Transformer. It's yes, he sprinted full court, but do you think he gets there again if J.R. Smith isn't there to slow Iguodala up? Yes, it was a great block. Yes. But like Osmosis said, it saved 2 points, whereas Dream's block literally saved the championship. Because no, we don't know for sure that John Starks makes that shot, but I think he had hit 6 threes in that game already. So he was pretty hot. You weren't going to let him get an open look at that. That's why Dream knew that he had to go get that. And he did. Steve says Kyrie's shot, his ability to torch Steph and outperform him was the key to that championship. That is true. That's absolutely true. Let's see. All right, what we got? The Format Podcast.
What's up, Bruce, man?
What's going on? Who's this?
No, but it is my life, man.
It's my life. What's good, bro? How you doing?
I'm good, man.
All right, what you got? Yes, sir.
How everybody's saying that LeBron is the best all-around player when you have Giannis that's made all NBA defense and was snubbed out of 2 of them. And you got Kawhi Leonard that's been all NBA defense, and both of them made all NBA first team.
So
sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so I mean, as far as I know, to a certain extent, Clay never made. He only made all defense one time, I think. But other than that, I mean, as far as just like all around players, those are like the only 2.5 all around players we've seen throughout this generation that play both sides of the ball and dominate.
So I hear you on that, and I agree to some extent, right? This may surprise some people. I don't think either of them is a better all-around player than LeBron. And so, yes, they are almost as good offensively, better defensively. But one, obviously, Kawhi, you can't count on him. He's always hurt. And I think these guys got like 1 or 2 career triple-doubles. Not saying that triple-doubles are the end-all, be-all, but triple-doubles, I think, kind of, in a lot of cases, now you can kind of fudge how you play in order to get triple doubles. We saw Russell Westbrook do that. when he was in OKC, especially. And Carmelo Anthony and Steven Adams have both admitted that, they would box out and clear out so that he could get those rebounds for the triple doubles and all that. But I say it to say Kawhi Leonard is not nearly the passer LeBron is. Now, he's big and strong. He can rebound with him. He can score with him because he has a better scoring package, pause. So we know that, but he's not nearly the distributor that LeBron is, even though he's a better man on defender. So I think LeBron's ability to distribute the basketball is what separates him and what makes people say that he's a better all-around player. But I do agree with you that Giannis and Kawhi are clearly the better defenders. But Giannis's offensive game, as much as he scores a lot of points, is very, very limited, right? Even more so than LeBron. And LeBron does not have the best offensive game at all. So I think that's my answer to your question.
Yeah, that's true. So what I would go as far as with the equation, I took the distribution part out of it.
Okay.
And I took that out of it.
I don't think you can, though.
No, I know, but at the same time, as far as with what you're saying, you're taking a defensive part out of it with LeBron too, right? Because both of them have better defensive stats. They have made defensive NBA.
And they're just flat out better defenders when you watch them play.
Right, along with the opposite side of the ball. So as far as with their positions aren't made for them to bring the ball down for the distribute. As far as Kawhi and Giannis is, because they both can swing to the power forward, small forward, true enough, just like LeBron. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, LeBron is a big guard too.
Yeah,
either one of those guys are.
Yeah,
so that's
absolutely.
That's kind of why I was like, I weeded that part out as far as the assist and all that, or whatever. But I definitely get what you're saying as far as that category is concerned.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I said, you could get on the upside on the defense end versus LeBron.
Say that last part again. I'm sorry.
But I was saying at the same time, you can get them the defensive upside above LeBron.
You absolutely can. You absolutely can. I'm with you.
Versus them making assists during the game.
That's a good point. I think it's just the fact that in how we evaluate, unfortunately, the modern game of basketball is so much slanted towards offense that it almost weighs more than defense, right? So the fact that LeBron is able to score, he's obviously the number one scorer in basketball history. And then the fact that he's, I think, number 4th all time in assists. So you look at that and you say, okay, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and a lot of that got to do with health and longevity because
absolutely.
Both of those guys been injured. Rich, as far as being an athlete, you can't beat injuries. They gonna happen.
That's
no
right.
matter how they go. The same thing happened to Kobe. Like, who's to say if Kobe didn't get the Achilles injury?
That's right.
I think he had another injury before that. He would have been way past like a lot of these guys' statistical categories or whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
So we could bring that to the place, true, but at the end of the day, those longevity numbers with LeBron. Which I'm not a LeBron hater. He's in my top 3, but he's just not above Kobe and Jordan.
Listen, man, I don't know how it is on other channels, but on this channel, you don't have to preface what you say with "I'm not a LeBron hater." If you're telling the truth, we're good with that. All right, you don't have to worry about that here.
I'm not biased, man. I'm not biased. That's just for the chat because I be kind of going back and forth with the chat.
I got you, man.
So
yeah,
it's all good. But as far as with the Rich Paul situation, I honestly think they did that to save face to say that, okay, look at his legacy. He didn't join the super team when he had a chance to. When they knew way before us that Bronny was going to end up going to LA because he's already in LA at USC. So I think they kind of did that to save face. To help his legacy out as well.
That's interesting because if that's the case, like, why would it come out now? That's the only thing. And that was reported by, I believe Mark Stein, who's a longtime NBA writer. And as far as I know, he's not a clutch guy. Now, he might be like, behind the scenes. But as far as I know, he's not one of those guys that's always waving the clutch pom-pom. So, you might be right. You might, I don't know.
Just like Steve Nash. Steve Nash not a clutch guy, but he's still waving the LeBron pom-pom. You know what I'm saying? So, the pendulum swing whichever way it can at the end of the day.
I got you.
But everything you're saying is valid, man. Enjoy the show, man. I support, bro.
Hey, I appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Okay, big dog.
All right, brother. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
All right, I saw a Transformer was trying to call in, so if you wanna get back to that, and while I got you on the brain Transformer, pause. I saw you had something in the comments earlier about what is this? Michael Jordan not defending Magic. So actually, Michael Jordan, if you go back and do the research, defended Magic for a longer period of time, as in more time on the floor than Scottie Pippen did in that series. So I know you LeBron people love to push the narrative that Scottie Pippen did all the defensive work and he was an all-time great defender, no question. But Michael Jordan, if you go back and do the research, because I've done it, actually defended the opposing team's best guard or wing more often through their playoff runs than Scottie Pippen did. You don't have to believe me. Just go do the research yourself. It's all good. Transformer, what's good, my man?
First and most importantly, brother, how you doing?
Doing all right. Thank you.
I'm loving the show tonight, man. I'm loving the interaction in the chat. I'm loving the comments, man. You guys keep it going, but don't forget, hit that like button. If you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, go to YouTube specifically and hit that like button. We definitely appreciate it. But anyway.
Yes, sir.
The reason why I called, okay, first of all, I have to thank you for yourself because that was a mad pause that you threw in there before you started talking about it. But I'm going to go ahead and answer this Rich Paul thing.
Okay.
Right?
Yes, sir.
This Rich Paul thing, it's absurd that we go so far to say that all of a sudden this would be a bad idea if this old man and Steph Curry old behind was doing the team and we're going to all of a sudden call it a super team. Who's expecting them to win? At this point, who's expecting them to win?
I don't think for me, it's not even about expecting them to win. It's about the principle of why would you want to go and join your greatest rival? It's the simple principle of the matter for me.
But I think we're comparing what these players think that what we think should matter to these players don't matter. You know what I mean? Like, we grew up in an era where, okay, we saw the 90s players. We saw the early 2000s where, man, you stick to one team, you don't go to your rival. Man, them dudes don't care these days, man. Nobody cares, bro. AAU basketball has transformed these folks' minds to all they want to do is play with each other at some point. They all do, bro. Like, I don't see why it's so far-fetched that LeBron, who's mentioned playing with Steph Curry, that he likes playing with Steph Curry in multiple All-Star games before. He likes his gameplay and everything like that. So all of a sudden, now I want to play with him in Golden State. You know what I mean? I don't see that being such a dire thing that all of a sudden, you know, they will want this to happen. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand. I just don't understand.
So I think, and I actually said this a long time ago. To your point, LeBron has been talking for years about how much he enjoys playing with Steph Curry on these all-star teams. And I'm pretty sure he's been asked about it and said it would be great to play with Steph and all that, right? And so I personally think, this is me, because we know LeBron is a long game guy. He was always making that commentary in order to lay the groundwork in case it ever happened, so that, you know, so that his people could always say, well, you know, LeBron has wanted to play with Steph for the longest and blah, blah, blah. Now he's finally getting this opportunity. But again, to me, and you might be right, they just don't care. But to me, the simplest thing about sports is competition. Competition. And that's why Mike and Kobe were such psychos, because they wanted to compete at every turn. So check this, right? I don't know if you heard this story before. When the original Dream Team, 92, the greatest basketball team of all time, no question. When the
Negative.
Oh, stop it. No, we're not. But yeah, so when the original Dream Team went to Barcelona, we know that, you know, Mike is just a crazy gambler and he's obsessed with competing at everything, right? So David Robinson tells the story that Mike was trying to get him to bet on whose bags would come out from the baggage handler first, right? You know, the little turnstile that put your bags out at the airport. Right. So he's trying to get David Robinson to bet on whose bags are going to come out first. Like, this is what type of psycho Mike is when it comes to competition. And here's the crazy part. So David Robinson's like, no, like, why would I want to do that? It's not even that serious, right? But he later found out that Mike had already went ahead and paid the baggage people to make sure that his bags came out first.
So he's a cheater.
Yes, he was trying to cheat. Yes, he was trying to cheat.
Oh man, so that's more dirt coming out about him.
Oh, here you.
We know he's a cheater. So
we know he never
did
cheated.
He manipulate a fellow player.
Uh-huh.
What did he manipulate in the game of basketball to make them numbers so inflated?
Stop.
Can we start that narrative? Where's that narrative? Oh, he cheats his own teammate. He cheats his own teammate. Bruce, you broke the news, man.
I'm just
broke the news.
I'm just talking about how psychotic the dude was about competition, you know.
I mean, I don't see it being truly competitive if you cheat before the competition.
No. I know what you're saying. Mike was crazy, but it was that do anything to win, right? And I don't want to join you. I want to beat you, but I get what you're saying. But no, regardless, I think
that's a different time, though. That's my point. Like Kobe and MJ, you know what I mean? Like they had the one when MJ finally got the pieces. It never really took much for that to even play. It wasn't much for him to have to manipulate in order for him to keep winning. Yeah, they got, Rodman and added that piece on, and that actually put him in a different stratosphere when it came to that level of competition. Kobe on that same standpoint, I mean, yes, it took years off of his career that he went through those horrible years. Don't get me started on such horrible years post the Shaq era, and then obviously the post Achilles injury era, where it was basically 7-8 years based off his career just being in that hole. LeBron just didn't want to do that. I'm not
exactly.
Mad at him
you just said it.
Wanting to deal with that.
Yeah, but
I'm not mad at him for not wanting to deal with that.
Right,
bro.
but what I'm saying is,
if I control my fate, right, and I'm playing out, we're acting like he's asking for trade. He's playing out his contract.
No, but
his obligation to that team is that, hey, I signed a 4-year deal. 4 years, I'm playing my basketball. I'm gonna play my absolute best. You guys get a championship or two. I'm out of here.
No, I agree with that. I agree. But what I'm saying, and in this case, this particular case, and this is the only one that I know of, he apparently was trying to make his way to Golden State before the contract was up. So that, but in fairness, to your point,
now,
I've always said
the
it.
Lakers also want to do that.
Maybe
because we actually want to get a little conversation. I do think that's more of a Lakers push. I definitely probably see LeBron would have no problem waiting till the off season or whatever to make that kind of trade, like a signing trade or something like that. You know what I mean? But I think honestly, I believe at some point in time, my Rob Pelinka in the front office, like, hey man, help me out. At least leave us with something. Give us some type of compensation if you wanted to walk out that door. You know what I mean? I think that's more so the Lakers wanting to do that more than Bron wanting to do that mid-season. I don't think Bron ever wanted to leave mid-season. He's never done it. He's never shown reason why I should believe that.
Hey,
He's
desperation. I don't know.
Single contract. You know what I mean? So I don't see him wanting to leave mid-season.
Desperation makes strange bedfellows. That's what they say. But
yeah, exactly. We just saw MJ just hire, pay the freaking turnstile guy just so he can win it. Hey, desperation, man. He wants to win
Oh my gosh.
You said it.
I did. You're a wild dude, Transformer.
But all right, man. The comment section, y'all lighten it up, man. I definitely appreciate it. I wanted to chime in real quick, show my love, show my support. You guys hit that like button if you love the content. I know you do because you still listen. All right? Go and hit that like button, hit that share button. It pushes out to so many other folks that love and talk sports, man. So you're definitely doing us for love. You're definitely doing us for solid. And guess what, guys? It's absolutely free. Cost you not a dime. You guys be safe. Bruce, man, I love you, brother. I'll see you next live.
Appreciate you, brother. No doubt.